You, Eshaw Rich. I just made a video and shit, and I'm trying to make like one or two a night. You know what I'm saying? And I just made the one, and I was just gonna leave it at that. But I had said something in it, and I'm like, well, it kind of lead me to something else I want to say that I was actually gonna talk about later. But I'm like, it might be good to just kind of piggyback off of that now while I got it in my head. So in the last video, I was just kind of talking about the mixing and mastering thing and saying how like I understand the importance of it to a degree, but I'm gonna do my own shit, man. I'm gonna save money doing that, man, because a lot of these mixing and mastering prices, I'm not gonna say they too high or they unfair, you know what I mean? Because your price is your price, you know what I mean? You determine what you feel you worth, you know what I mean, and what you charge and all that. But I just feel like that's something I'll do myself because like me being an independent artist is coming straight out of pocket with my shit. Like I'm strictly doing this shit on my own. You know what I mean? Like I gotta like watch how I divvy up my funds and shit. You know what I mean? For the time being. You know what I mean? I ain't the richest motherfucker by far. You know what I mean? And ain't hesitant to admit that shit. So it's like I got what I got. I'm working with what I'm working with, and I gotta allocate that to the right places and shit. And that's all subject to where you at, you know what I mean, on your journey. But with me, it's like I got a lot of music, you know what I'm saying? I record at a rapid rate, and it's like I had talked to a guy that's pretty deep in the music industry, and he kind of consulted me, and I told him I had a lot of music recorded, and I'll never forget what he said to me. He was like, "All right, you got the music recorded, so what you gonna do with it now?" It's like, what's the point of making the music if it's just gonna sit there? And like, that just stuck in my head. Like, yo, you do gotta push this shit at some point, and that's a much harder process than actually making the music. You know what I mean? Once you get to a certain level, and making music becomes second nature. You know what I mean? And it's like you gotta, get this shit out there because that's kind of the point of it, right? So I'm like, that's where I struggle, you know what I mean? Because we in such a transition. It used to be, just go out and, hey, yo, I'm selling this CD, and I'll play the song and, I just do different shit. But now, in the internet times, it's like, motherfucker really had to figure out, like, all right, how I'm gonna get people to listen to my shit. And it's like, yeah, you could do the traditional, go on Facebook, go on Instagram, where most people that's on your friend list, they know you, you know what I'm saying? They grew up with you, they know you from around the way, they work with you, and so on and so forth. And it's like, they'll, a lot of them, they'll, acknowledge you and they'll show you love and shit. But after a while, you know what I mean? It's gonna be like, all right, we know you rap, motherfucker. Like, this is all shit that I've been through, you know what I mean? I don't hold that shit against nobody. I don't expect nobody to clap for me every single time if they ain't genuinely a supporter, you know what I mean? I don't expect everybody to be genuinely a supporter. So it's like, you gotta aim for the people that haven't heard you yet. That's where a lot of these artists, you know what I mean? Like mainly the ones that just, I don't know if it's they want to be local or they just don't see no other way, but they just ain't local all the time, and then they get mad because the same people ain't supporting you every single time. Like people gonna fuck with who they fuck with, you know what I mean? And it's like if you're not one of their favorite local artists or one of their favorite artists, period, then they not gonna show support every single time. So it's like you just gotta keep aiming for new people, and I learned that some time ago. So it's like I say all that, which was a lot to say, where I'm finding my strength at and doing all that is you gotta run these motherfucking ads, man. You cannot be hesitant about spending bread on putting your music out there. It's such an important process. It's just as important as paying for studio time to go record your songs, or it's just as important as shooting the videos for them. It's just as important as going out and buying, fresh ass clothes and shoes so you can look good in your videos or whatever else it is you spending money on. You know what I mean? And we as people, period, but even us as artists, particularly, like, we spend money on bullshit, yo. Like, you go into the studio, you know what I mean? You getting motherfucking blunts and grass and liquor and all this shit, like, which, all right, that's necessary to be when you in the studio and shit. You know what I mean? Everybody need their party favors and shit. You know what I mean? Whatever it be. But it's like that money you be blowing on bullshit, like even outside of music, it's like that could be going towards promotion, running ads, like motherfuckers. You know what I mean? They be seeing like the growth in my shit, like where my followers are getting bigger, my views going up, shit like that. More opportunities is coming up, a lot of networking, and it's like, yo, I'm not spending a lot of fucking money. I'm just spending what I need to spend, what I feel is necessary, and it's making, what I mean, it's making motion. So it's like, what I mean, once you get to that point, and this is really for like a lot of my peers, what I mean, the cats my age, what I mean, because like I said, we be having a hard time making that transition. So it's like run these ads, yo. Like, what I mean? Find you a good record that you feel can get you some motion. Figure out your demographic. Figure out who you trying to hit. Like, I'm not gonna give away all my details of what I do. You know what I mean? One, because that's what I do. You know what I mean? Like, I keep that in. You know what I mean? But your way not gonna be my way. So figure out your demographic. Figure out all that shit and run them ads, man. You know what I mean? Stop saying you ain't trying to, cause that shit is organic. It's a lot fucking better than going, to pay for views and plays and all that corny ass shit, or even, the Spotify playlist. And I've been reading reviews about that. You know what I mean? That shit ain't phony, but get that shit organically. You know what I mean? Run them ads. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna be effective. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna sit here and tell you what you need to spend or how little or how much you can spend. Like, just figure it out. But I'm just saying, all in all, run the ads, yo. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna work in your favor if you really got some shit. You know what I mean? That people want to hear. You know what I mean? And I learned that, and I'm continue. You know what I mean, to do that. And like I said, when it comes to allocating your budget, like, that's gonna be a big part of it. You know what I mean? It should be one of the biggest parts of it. And I mean, the rest I'm gonna just let y'all figure out, man. But I do get a lot of, I don't say a lot, but what I mean, I get a good amount of questions about how, what I mean, you got this shaking or that, what I mean? I'm like, like, you gotta put yourself out there, man. You know what I mean? It's like, it's literally a commercial for what you're trying to do, yo. And it's a lot of people doing what we do out here, so it's like, you gotta make yourself stand out. Ain't nobody coming to look for you. You gotta put yourself out there. So once you do that, then they'll start coming to look for you. So take this shit and run with it, man. East Shore Ridge. Catch y'all on the next one.